Hey guys, what's up? This is Glogmeister26 and I wanted to do a quick opening or unboxing. I actually couldn't wait on this one, so I had to open it right away, but I just wanted to show you how the box came and what it came with. As you can see, it's a Benchmade Black class, and this model is the Mini Stryker Auto. I've been waiting for a long time for this knife. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to get it because, like I said, I have a lot of knives, but let's get into this. And it comes in your typical Benchmade box. It comes in the black box, letting you know it's a black class. It comes with your warranty information, and I like the way Benchmade does it. It tells you about the Stay Sharp or Life Sharp sharpening care maintenance of the knife. It also explains to you the classes of Benchmade knives, which I think is kind of nice. And of course, your mail-in warranty. Once you open the package, you have your plastic bag, and inside you have this nice little silky Benchmade bag. Now, I've said it before, this is a nice little touch. Even though I've never carried a knife in one of these, and I've never stored them in these, I usually just put it back in the box and put it away. But it's nice when you sell a knife or you trade a knife to have this stuff to give to the next person, because it makes it feel like, you know, they get everything that came with the knife. Okay, so let's get started. This is a pretty small knife. I'll bring a couple of knives out for comparison. First of all, my first impressions of the knife were that Benchmade is pretty awesome. The quality control on it is pretty good. Now, looking on YouTube, I didn't see a whole lot of reviews. Once in a while, you'll see this knife in a comparison review where you have it in the background and they give you a quick look at it. I've mentioned many times that I do a lot of comparison shopping before I actually purchase the knife. So I tried to do that and I couldn't. Let me show you the quickness of the opening. It is an auto. It does have the black blade with the coating. For those of you that have seen, I mean, there's a lot of guys in the office that have this knife, and this coating takes a beating. And for those guys that use it pretty rough, you'll see a lot of wear marks, and you'll start seeing the metal coming through. So I know already that this can't be a very rough duty knife because it'll get very worn. Also, what I've seen, because this blade is so thin, the profile of this blade is very, very thin. And I've noticed that they have a lot of chips in the blade. It's a beautiful knife. It's pretty much invisible at night. The other issue I had with it when I first got it out of the packaging was that this coating they put on it, on the aluminum, is very chalky. Nothing Fancy did mention in one of his reviews that he critiqued it, saying that it is kind of too chalky. And I kind of have to agree with that. Once you rub it down with a little bit of silicone cloth that I have, it seems to kind of help a little bit. Of course, you're going to close this auto by depressing the activation button again, bringing the blade down and releasing. What's nice about these Benchmades is they have this little lock on there. It prevents it from being deployed. Once you unlock it, the blade pops out pretty strong, by the way. Once the blade is out, you can lock it again and the blade will not close on you, which is a nice feature considering there's not a lot of I mean, you have some jimping up here, which is pretty aggressive, but there's nothing down here, and I do worry about that. On a hard used knife, the last thing you want to do is slip forward and cut yourself on that. Let me give you a little comparison on the size. Here's my oh so sweet Father's Day present from a while ago. Like I mentioned before, I do like this knife, and the reason I like it is because of the size, the thinness, and the shape of the blade. And here it is compared to the Benchmade, and they're pretty much identical. I mean, when you put them side by side, it's basically the same dimensions. Just for kicks, here's one of my all-time favorites, Flash 2. This knife is great. What's not great about this knife is this. I don't know if you can hear that. Up and down rock, and this, side to side. Now I've tightened this knife, I play with it, I'm not really sure what I can do anymore. From the videos I've seen, there's really nothing you can do about it. That kind of makes me nervous, guys. Especially for some, any cutting task where your hands are going to be right here. That worries me. Anyway, here it is for size comparison. It is a little bigger, a little larger, longer, and thicker. So that's why I think this knife is going to fit so well into my EDC. I will start carrying this knife immediately. I've been waiting a long time for this knife because I felt that it was going to fit that that gap between the knives I have. I have the heavy duty knives for the range or when I'm hiking, and this is going to serve as an everyday go to work knife. I have been carrying my my Syderco Auto, the Citadel, and I'm in love with that knife. It's a great knife, but for every day I think this will be perfect. I usually carry the two knives, the Swiss Army knife with me always, then some kind of tactical blade, which I do consider this to be a tactical blade because of the Tonto shaped blade. And let me tell you guys, super sharp. Maybe it's the black class. I've never had a Benchmade this sharp. It could be the thinness of the blade, because it's so thin. Maybe you can't help but make it. What worries me is dropping this knife. Take a look at that tip. I mean, it's outrageously sharp and delicate. The serrations actually are perfect. Not too aggressive when you look at them in the profile, but you know you're going to get some extra cutting on this for those coarse like rope and maybe even those flexi cuffs. Sometimes it's kind of hard to cut them with a straight blade, so you need that little extra serration to give you that extra. Anyway, guys, here's the knife up close. It's milled out, aluminum handles. You have your lanyard hole, safety on top. Here it is closed. The tolerances are pretty tight. It's not exactly centered, but as close as you're gonna get. Yeah, there's no rubbing. I like the all black coating on the aluminum handle and the blade. Unfortunately, like I said, from experience and what I've seen the other guys at work, this black on this knife doesn't wear very well. You'll start to see the silver color of the metal underneath. I like the shape of the blade on top, the way they mill it, and it's a little thicker in the front. Alright guys, so if anyone's in the market for this knife, I know it's an older model, it's been out for a few years. Some people complain about not being able to retain it in the hand because there's not enough jimping or there's no trowel on the bottom that would lock your hand in. I've been wanting this knife since I saw it. I'm glad I finally have it, and I'll be carrying it every day to work, and I'll let you guys know how it fares with the wear, and if I continue wearing it because it's that comfortable, which I think it will be. Alright, have a good one.